Hey. So, today I would like to talk about a very interesting topic. But first, I gotta ask, how are you today? Well, that's good. I'm very glad to hear that. Me, I am. So, very interesting topic. Now, I did try to address this topic in a live stream. And the live stream kind of went off the rails. I know you already understand why. Panda, he got drunk and way off topic. And the whole thing just, yeah. I know. Look, Panda's got a little bit of a drinking problem. We all know. And we're working on it. Fortunately, I don't have a problem with alcohol. Right? Sorry, I had to scratch my balls. Retake for ball scratching. That's better. Now, where were we? So, the subject for today's video is Santeria. Santeria. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's that song by Everlast. No, that's a song by Everclear. First of all, that is extremely disrespectful. Everlast is a pretty decent band from the West Coast. Had a couple big hits. Everlast. Yeah, Everclear is a band. Everlast is the guy from House of Pain who has some solo records. But no, it is not a song by either of them. It's a song by Sublime. Come on. It also happens to be a major religious movement that has some historical context and a fascinating rabbit hole that makes me very much interested in the topic. So, let's jump in. Not on the really catchy song by Sublime. Sublime. Seriously, fucking iTunes is garbage. That hurts. Anyways. Santeria. From medieval times, colonial white cultures have spread out over the world to share the many amazing advancements of Western civilization. And they shared them with these unenlightened masses. I mean, we're talking great advancements like kidnappings, whippings, rope, that's not right. There might be a letter changed because YouTube gets mad if you say the rope word. Murder, genocide. Oh yeah. Really good at that one. Beatings, slavery. Oh yeah. But we don't often mention the smallpox or the monogamy. Yeah. 2 horrible crimes forced on people. But it's okay, because they also brought Christianity. And that just absolutely fixes everything. Well, it turns out not everyone took to Christianity. Well, for one thing, there's that pesky fact that it's, Christianity, as awesome as it is, it's brought to you by the same assholes that bring you smallpox, rope, whippings, beatings, slavery, etc. Now, this did not endear Christianity to many of the, let's go with the native Africans first, who were so often on the receiving end of the other advancements. Now, the French, Spanish, and the Portuguese, they were really, really good about inflicting Jesus-style salvation on their newfound workforce, forcibly baptizing many workers seized from West Africa into the Roman Catholic Church before transporting them to their new happiness-free lives in the Caribbean and South America. Now, in North America, slaves often adopted Christianity as comfort and source of strength against their plight. In French colonies, survivals of the original African religions mutated into voodoo, or as everyone born after 1700 calls it, voodoo. And yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions about voodoo and what it is, but different video, different time, different bottle. Now, in South America and the Caribbean, or Caribbean, for some of you assholes, a strange hybrid emerged. Now, these captured slaves, they accepted Catholicism because, it was forced on them and they had to practice it, or else, you don't get a gold star. Now, it melted into remnants of West African religions, and it became something new, something exciting. And the reason for this video, big rabbit hole, of Regla de Oca. That's right. Spanish slave masters derisively referred to this new religion as Santeria, or Way of the Saints, which stuck. So Regla de Oca became Santeria, which eventually became an awesome song. Seriously, loved the song. I loved the topic long before the song, but the song absolutely just, yeah. Sorry. See, this is what happens when Panda fucking whispers in my ear and gets me off topic. Bastard. Now, on with the video. Theologically, Santeria is pretty straight up a hybrid between African religions and Roman Catholicism. Now, adherents viewed the Christian saints as avatars, or other faces, of the Orisha. The Orisha is a pantheon of lesser deities, or gods. While the Christian figure of God, Jehovah, Yahweh, was seen as Olodumare. If I said that wrong, it's not meant to offend you, but by all means, be offended. Olodumare is the African creator god who rules over all the other lesser gods. Now, one of the big complaints that Protestants have about Catholics, and I hate to interject my personal religious ideology, but it actually is applicable to this conversation. I am a Catholic. Wasn't raised Catholic. I have a very very Protestant family. I don't have any Catholic family members that I'm aware of. Right? Now, one of the big complaints that Protestants have about Catholics is you pray to Mary. You pray to the saints. And the Bible says you only pray to God. Gotcha. I understand, and I'm not gonna wade into the fucking details on this. I'm only gonna say, from my end, as I learned and as I practice, Protestants tend to, my kid's sick, my daughter's got a game, this, whatever it is, I'm going to ask you to pray for me. Cool. All good. It's all positive stuff. Can't complain about positive stuff. Now, as a Protestant, do you go to your bartender, the dude at the sex shop, the homeless guy on the street, your Jewish co-worker, the Mormon guy at the diner, or do you go to people you know from church, your pastor, people who share similar beliefs, people who, right? And I know good is good in anyone offering prayers, sympathy, heartfelt love. Oh man, it's always good. I don't care about the religious bullshit behind it. If someone says, I'm sending you positive because I have positive feelings for you, yes, that's a win. But yeah, you'll generally go to people and go, hey, Reverend Bob, Pastor Bob, pray for my kid. She's whatever. Catholics do the same thing, only they include dead people. It's like, hey, man, I got some issues. I'm going to pray to St. Christopher. Pray to him? Well, I'm going to pray and ask St. Christopher to pray for me. Because St. Christopher, that motherfucker's in heaven. So, his prayer and my prayer together, that'd be good. Oh shit, St. Jude. That guy. Fucking brother of James. That motherfucker traveled the farthest of all the 12 disciples. He was beaten to death with sticks. Oh yeah. That guy died for Christ. So I asked him to pray for me. That's gotta help some, right? Now, am I saying that's right, wrong? Don't care. You should not care what I say is right or wrong. I'm just explaining a specific complaint Protestants have about Catholics, and you'll see why. The Orisha and other lesser deities were a direct outgrowth of earlier animalistic religions, with each performing a specific function in the grand scheme of the universe. Now, these Orisha could be petitioned to help out adherents whose problems related to these vocational specialities. Since the first practitioners of Santeria were required on pain of death to practice Catholicism, they paid tribute to the Orisha in their saintly forms. Now let's look all the way back on the Greeks. You got the god of the hunt, the god of this, the god of that. And now, Western Africa, they have the Orisha of this, and this, and this. And then, Catholics, you have saints who, well, you know what? You got this issue, reach out to this saint. That's their speciality. And this saint, and this saint. It just fit perfectly. Thus, Shango, the god of fire and wrath. People would pray to Saint Barbara instead. Now, she's a martyr who was murdered by her father. And then she was avenged when God set that fucker's place on fire. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Saint Barbara is also the patron saint of artillery. Because from out of nowhere, you can just light a motherfucker up. Seems appropriate to me. Now, I'll say this one wrong. So, if it offends you, blame Panda. Baba Luwei is the Orisha of health. So people naturally would pray to Saint Lazarus, who he was famously raised from the dead by Jesus Christ. Now, the treatment of saints in Santeria is a pretty hardcore version of fetishism. Not the good way you get on the hub, but in a very serious focus on one specific thing. Now, saintly icons were seen as objects of great power, and they were often displayed in ornate and lavish altar settings, which are either garish or gorgeous, just depending on you. Now, every time you've seen a movie where someone's like sacrificing a goat, and at the end of the hallway they've got an end table with a picture and a bunch of candles and a bunch of beads. Yeah, that is Hollywood's offensive depiction of a Santeria altar. Now, in addition to the over-the-top veneration of saints, a number of other elements really begin to freak out those who don't take part in the religion. Now, despite its outer homage to Christianity, the practices of Santeria are just a touch different. Now, priests and priestesses are known as Santeros and Santeras. Yeah, I'm saying it wrong. Deal with it. Now, it led the community in highly secretive rituals, of which little is known to outsiders even today. Now, fun fact, Santeria is somewhat popular in the U.S. in pockets. Now, if they're widely secretive, then each pocket might have different stuff, right? Now, very, very little is known to outsiders. Just the way it is. Now, what is known is that these practices include blood sacrifices of animals and ritual possession, similar to voodoo, which came from the same place. and the use of magic potions and charms made from herbs and stones associated with various orisha, or saints. These known elements led to much speculation about what the secretiveness was all about. Because obviously, if you have secret things going on, what does that mean? Witchcraft. Devil worship. Well, which one? Oh, depends on which community's flipping the shit. Yeah. There will always be people attacking Santeria. Witchcraft, devil worship, and human sacrifice. But it still is a really fucking good song by Sublime. Although the infrastructure of slavery collapsed in the 19th century, Santeria continued and spread geographically to establish small outposts in various parts of the world. Mexico caught on in a pretty big way. North America in a kind of small way. While other religions and occult traditions, such as Freemasonry, witchcraft, voodoo, Mormonism, they worked to educate outsiders about their generally good intentions. The adherents of Santeria, they stuck with the same shit, right? Secrecy. When it became politically incorrect to accuse Wiccans of frolicking in the woods with a dark man, Christian fundamentalists and the intellectual underachievers of Middle America were in a virtual panic to find a suitably villainous movement of Satan lovers. So, where do you think this is going? In 1989, the anti-Santeria frenzy reached its peak with a gruesome mass murder in Mexico, Matamoros, Mexico. 13 people mutilated in various less than pleasant ways. Boiling in oil. We're not going down that way. Look, at a ranch near the town of Matamoros, mass quantities of drugs were also found at the scene. Now, the sensational nature of the murders immediately led the media to the obvious connection that it's inspired by Satan and devil worshippers. Well, one could argue that they were, related to drug deals. Now, the drug gang leader that was eventually found responsible wasn't so much the drug dealing that caused all the murders. It was a weird mishmash of religious hoodoo. But mostly Santeria, obviously. Among his non-standard practices, he... Alright, I'm not saying I believe this is true. I'm just saying this is what the government presented. New gang members are required to view The Believers, an incredibly bad horror movie in which Martin Sheen encounters a cult of grisly, human-sacrificing minority bad guys. The bad guys are strongly hinted at being Santerians. Now, the movie barely distinguishes between its stupid misconceptions about Santeria and its stupid misconceptions about voodoo. But Martin Sheen inexplicably went on to become a hardcore liberal Democrat icon, despite this movie, while it helped give bottom-feeding scum like Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson all the false material to last them well into the 21st century. So it just goes to show you, Martin Sheen, very open-minded and liberal. Unless you pay him enough, and then he will feed the Falwell beast. Now, Santeria has recently taken on a certain amount of New Age chic. It's been blended in with witchcraft and other versions of the occult. Right? Now, it's on the far fringe of the religious people as being evil. But if you're looking for a fuck ton of bullshit happy lies to offset the fuck ton of bullshit negative lies about the practice of Santeria, well, you can always reach out to the middle class, white, female, liberal SJWs, because they are always the expert on what is appropriate for minorities to participate in. They will give you some baseball card style statistics on which saint is which Orisha. But when it comes to the real world, much like everything else the SJWs do, they don't know anything about the actual Santeria. And with the practice of being very secretive and each community being isolated, there's a pretty good chance, a very likely chance, that you will know more about Santeria by watching this long, drunken, rambling video than you would reaching out to a majority of these fake practitioners of Santeria. Hey, I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball.